Today I want to show how I take head cuttings off my larger Echeverias, and the reason I do this is because they get large and leggy, and also it allows me to propagate some of my rarer plants which seldom offset. I'm going to use one of my favourites, Echeveria carunculata, or also known as Echeveria gibberiflora carunculata, to demonstrate this process. You can see on this plant that the stem has fairly elongated, which is great for my demonstration purposes. I use a clean ordinary bread knife to make the cut. There are a few options though where we can cut it. The first of those is known as pinching out, which you can see here you're just literally taking out the few leaves at the top. This can be great if you want to create a plant that has multiple heads. To get the most plants though, I tend to use the deheading method, whereby you cut the top section where you have a plant that you can re-establish, and you also have some leaves on the bottom stem which then tend to pup and offset, and you can take those off and treat them as individual plants. When doing my head cuttings, I like to leave a generous amount on top, but also lots of healthy leaves on the bottom. So I tend to do about halfway where the leaves are occurring. It may be tempting to cut quite low, however this will produce very few offsets and it won't root very well. Where possible, I try to cut between the leaves. This isn't always possible and it's okay to slice through them, but I find that they root down best and you get the most pups if you leave as many leaves as possible undamaged. Here you can see a healthy clean cut, ready to be calloused before planting. I tend to put them on a pot to dry, on an empty pot, as this tends to keep the wound clean and to minimise sunburn. Remember when you do put the plant aside to keep it protected. Here is a Paul Bunyan that I chopped a few weeks ago, and you can see the offsets have already started forming on the stem. And the head cutting, which I don't show here, has already started forming roots as well. This is a pup from a previous deheading on a Mauna, and you can see that it's already started to offset from little baby ones to quite big ones that are ready to separate from the main body and plant out. Let it heal for a few days first. Here is the main head cut from the Mauna, and you can see that it's pretty well fully recovered and re-rooted.